I'm Nancy Angus and welcome to Friendly Giants Showcase. I'm excited today because we're going to be able to show another one of our Friendly Giants videos that were produced a couple of years ago in Thunder Bay. And today we're featuring Nellie's story. So I want you to watch this video, pick up a few of the tips that Nellie shares in her house about how she's learning to age at home. And there might be some strategies that you can adapt and incorporate into your own life. So our Friendly Giants project has been a terrific opportunity to get seniors talking to seniors about what it's like to age in your home and what you want to do to stay comfortable and safe in your own environment, whether that's a great big house like what Nellie has or a teeny tiny little apartment. So I'm just really pleased to present Nellie's story, and I hope you enjoy it. It's 3 minutes long. Here it is.
We had never planned for our own physical changes or how this would affect our ability to stay in our home. At 47, I chose to give up my teaching career and take on a family as a wife and mother. Ted, being the older one, his physical condition deteriorated, and we had to think about changing how our home was set up. My neighbor had a climber that she didn't want anymore, so I took it. I put it between the first floor and the basement so Ted could get to his desk. Ted was stubborn and didn't use it as much as he should have. When Ted developed vertigo and deafness and needed access to the shower, Veterans Affairs got involved and set us up with another chair climber for the upstairs. This made it even easier for me to do the laundry and cart everything else up and down the stairs. I was also able to organize other support for Ted, such as hand grips and raised toilet seats. Having a smaller car that Ted could step up into made it easier to go where we wanted to go: McDonald's, doctor's appointments, church. We were also able to get help for housekeeping and yard work, making it possible for us to stay in the house in the neighborhood we loved. When Ted was able to drive himself, he went to College for a workout, and I went to the community center to work out with my ladies' fitness group. Later, I would drive him to the college to work out, drive him to McDonald's so he could socialize with his football friends while I had coffee with the ladies. After Ted passed, I was feeling sorry for myself. If I had stayed single, I wouldn't have to go through this agony of his passing. Then I realized how great it is that Ted let me into his life, adopt his daughter and family. I still have friends to have coffee with, the beautiful garden to look after, and my ladies' fitness class. And I never realized that the climber and the chair we set up would save my knees and back.
Hello, I'm Nancy Angus and welcome back to Friendly Giants Showcase. You just had a chance to see Nellie's video and I hope you enjoyed it. Nellie can't come to us in the studio today to talk about her video, but we have like the next best person to talk about Nellie's story, and that happens to be her good friend and also a member of our Giants team, Kathy Scholes. So hi Kathy, thanks for coming in.
Hi Nancy, thanks for having me. It's been a privilege being a part of the Giants productions of these videos, and over the last 2 years working with you. That's been an excellent opportunity to see, all of us working together to help people age in the community and age at home.
So tell me how you got to know Nellie.
Okay, Nellie's been my neighbor for 30 years now, so it's been a long time. So she's always been a person who's has actually planned for the future, but more so in the last few years she's tried to. And her husband, Ted, passed away a couple of years ago before she did this video, but she did a lot of things to the home, made a lot of changes, as you could see in the video, that actually supported Ted in his home. And so those are supporting her now as she's aging in her home. And that's been kind of what she's wanted. She's wanted to be able to stay in her own home and age in her neighborhood that she's lived in for more than 30 years, because I have known her for 30. So she has started to think more about what she needs to do and make more connections outside of her house to help her to do that, because it's very difficult. And I think, in her video, she shows how she's done those things, but it's been her connection to the community and to her neighbors that have helped her to do that. She got one of the stair climbers from her neighbor, and she was able to get that installed. So that's really helped her now when she can't really go up and down the stairs very well.
So let's talk about the stair climber, because when I've shown this video out in the community, people have said, I'm not putting one of those in my house, no way, because it's sort of that whole kind of thing about people don't want to think they'll ever need it or want to use it. But Nellie has some really inventive ways that she's found to use the stair lift, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, she has. So one of the things, and I think you said this, someone, one of the gentlemen that was watching the video was the same way, didn't want to have a stair climber. It kind of, I think, we have to make these adaptations, even if we don't, it means that we're not quite as independent, but we can stay in our home with those. So Nellie, for her, carrying the laundry basket up and down the stairs is a big problem, because it's a fairly heavy. So she's been putting it on the stair climber and then pushing the button, and the laundry basket goes up the stairs, so then she doesn't have to carry it. Right. So that's been one of the things from the basement. So she actually has 2 stair climbers, one for her upstairs and one for the basement stairs as well.
And that's one of the challenges that people might have in a house, is that you have to work with stairs. And multiple staircases can mean that you're living in a smaller part of your own home, but maybe something, as simple as a stair climber can be something that you could use to adapt if you could afford it.
Yeah. So the stair climbers really helped Nellie. And then she said she also had grab bars put in her bathroom, and a lot of people don't like that either, but you can have them look fairly stylish. And sometimes it's not just as we age that we fall in the bathtub. My kids have fallen in the bathtub using all those products that are slippery in the bathtub, and then they end up. So the grab bars are getting to be a lot more aesthetic, so that you can put them into a bathroom and people don't even really realize that they're grab bars for that. So Nellie's done things like that. She's actually, in her video, she talked about having people help her with her landscaping, with her house cleaning, and setting that up early, and having people, and Nellie's talked about this, is trusting the people that you have come to help you. And I think that's one of the things that some of the giants had talked about, and when we've gone to the tea talks and talked to giants in the community, that's one of the considerations, is who do you trust to do things on your house, and I don't think it just pertains to as we age, but even younger people, who do they get to help them sometimes with their home? And
so
I think
it goes right back to that concept that we have of the team of 8. So you need, if it's kind of your home to stay team. So it can be like friends, great neighbors like you guys and your family, but also a couple of the trusted, handy people that you call when something goes wrong in your home, or those kinds of the people who cut your grass or rototill your garden.
Yeah,
so,
those are very important.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing is staying connected, trying not to become isolated, because that's very difficult. And I think a lot of the giants have talked about that, is keeping those connections, that team of 8, so that you have people to talk to, or you have people to call, or, you're keeping that connection, because if you lose that connection, it makes it very difficult to age in your community.
And I've always been such an admirer of Nellie, because I've known her for a long time as a fitness leader in the community, and I think she taught fitness into her 80s.
Yes, she did.
And she had a loyal following of participants that still continue to exercise, and she's been a really active role model in their lives, as to many of us. So she's somebody that is independent and but just super talented and super positive.
Yeah, and she's one of those people who wants to share the things that she's doing that's helping her. So, and I think that, that's probably one of the big things, is to be able to share those things and keep connected and make a stronger community, because we do share that information.
So Kathy, how did you get to know Nellie as a neighbor?
Okay, so when we first moved into the neighborhood, we had 2 young children. And so when you have young kids, you're out in the neighborhood lots, you do meet the neighbors. And Nellie was one of those people who was really outgoing, talked to me quite a bit. She, loved the kids, talked to the kids. And that's been something she's built herself and me, but, she's always been there for us. So, as the kids got older, she had them come over and help her with stuff. And then she taught them how to decorate Ukrainian Easter eggs with the wax. And so she took a lot of time with them. And so for them, they have really good memories of Nellie. And so that's been one of the things. So out in the block, you get to meet everyone. So we actually met everyone in the block. And I still hang out with those women. And so that's
Of all ages, those women of all ages.
Yeah, because I'm actually the youngest. So, there's 86 to 60. So, it's a nice group, and it keeps you connected to what's happening with them. Like, what are they doing? And I think that's probably the beauty of it. You meet people of all different ages, all different jobs, and that kind of thing in a community.
And your job is at LU as a nursing instructor. So what have you taken away from your friendship with Nellie that you can apply to your work?
Well, it's really important, I think, in nursing to look at people of all ages with an open mind and a lens that, everyone can contribute to a community, no matter what your age, what your occupation, what disabilities you might have, anything. So that as we age, it's still a vibrant community. It's still people who can contribute back to the community. And I think in nursing, it's really important we see that, because most nursing students don't see vibrant older adults in the community right away. They see people in hospital and as we age, and that's not the majority of the population.
Thanks so much, Kathy. I really appreciate you being here today and being on our Friendly Giants Showcase.
Thank you very much, Nancy. It's been great.
Hello, I'm Nancy Angus, and welcome back to Friendly Giants Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. I have the great pleasure of introducing a special video that was produced for the Giants Project by none other than Sis Angus, my mother. So this video was made in 2017 when we gathered a group of 10 people ranging in ages from 58 to 98 to tell us a little bit about their advice for aging in the community, doing things to stay active and involved, and how to get to know your neighbors when you live in Thunder Bay. So to me, this is a pretty special little personal story that was created, written, created, voiced, and all the photos were kind of gathered by Sis Angus, who's going to come back to us and talk a little bit about the video and some of her great advice for aging in Thunder Bay. Here we go.
I grew up in a family of 4 brothers and 1 younger sister in a small town of about 700 people. I was a tomboy. My brother Duel said he wouldn't have anything to do with me unless I could fight. He taught me to take care of myself. My aunt was worried about me. She wanted me to be a lady. Both she and her husband had books in their house. They had no girls, so I was special. I went over there and spent weekends with them. She got me reading books. This one book fascinated me. I read it so much, I'm sure I had it memorized. It was about a girl around the same age as me. She loved to explore in the woods and looked for flowers. I started to do the same thing. I looked for pink lady slippers at another aunt's farm, and mayflowers, wild roses. It was a detective hunt. I was hooked on the world that reading opened up for me. I began to read everything I could. One day I told my son-in-law about this book that turned me on to nature and reading. He asked, what was it called? I told him, Girl of the Limberlost. This past Christmas, imagine my surprise when I opened a gift and there was Girl of the Limberlost. Best Christmas gift. Almost 90 years later, I enjoyed reading it again. It brought me back to my childhood, and I was so amazed at how many details I still remembered. But I discovered there was a love story. I guess I'd been too young to appreciate that before. Who would have thought a book from 1909 would still inspire me to look for the beauty all around me? As I near my 100th birthday, I'm still looking for flowers.
And welcome back to Friendly Giant Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. My name is Nancy Angus, and this is Sis Angus, my mother and a filmmaker. Who would have thought at 98 years old you would have made a film? What was that experience like to make that little movie?
It was quite an experience. It was kind of an amazing time that came out of a short period, 3 days. And it just was amazing what we all produced at that time.
So if people want to see those videos, they can go on to the agefriendlygiants.ca website and they can watch them. But your story was a personal story about growing up in Emo. That was the town that you grew up in. And what does growing up in a small town mean to you now?
It means that you are friends to everyone there. You know them all, they're your friends. They support you, they help you along the way. It's great. It's such a great experience.
And you've been kind of going to a lot of birthday parties lately, right?
Oh, yes.
You celebrated, as you kind of alluded to in your movie, that you were getting close to a special birth date, and now you've passed that special birth date, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And you're now coming up to 101?
That's right. 1st of October.
You'll be 101, and you've been to friends' 107th birthday. Yesterday you were at 103rd birthday. You visited your sister-in-law in Emo, and she's 106. What do you find what would you tell younger people today about what it's like to live at 100 plus?
I would say I'm the young one, the young kid on the block with those groups, but it's an inspiration to say there is hope. Life is not bad if you make it. It's up to you to make your own time and have fun and not sit back and say, I'm an old lady.
And is that something that you found through the Giants Project, that to meet new neighbors or to get out of your house and stay connected and stay healthy? That's one of the things that people want to aspire to. Is that something that you encourage people to do?
Yes, and even with that group of 10, we've become great friends. We love to do things together and we have a lot of fun. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel as though life is good.
So
if
you can
make it.
And you can always meet new people, right? It doesn't matter.
That's-
That's what you say about the 10 giants that you've met through this project, plus people like coaches like Kathy who worked behind the scenes, that we become like a network of new friends.
That's right, and it's been a real inspiration for me, and I appreciate all the help that I've got along the way.
And some of the things that people have talked about in your perspective, you've always volunteered, you've always been someone who gets involved in things and has really strong opinions. Do you feel that it's important, no matter what age you are, to get involved? and things that are going on around you?
It definitely is, and to express you're not always right in tune with what people are doing, but to express your own ideas and to let people know this is what I think. You don't have to be with the gang all the time, but it's nice to know that we accept and try to change our life in some way for the better.
And you've also said that sometimes it's hard when you're not feeling that great to find something to talk about. So you said, what's the kind of tip that you give to older people about starting conversations?
I always say when you're out, you can smile, you can say hello. If they answer, that's good. If they don't, well, so who cares? You pass that along, and many times they will respond, and it's just that smile that gives them a lift for that day.
And another thing that I know that you used to say is that, what do you say when somebody says, "How are you feeling today, sis?"
I always say I'm feeling just fine, just because I do feel good. When I'm not, I say, well, I still feel that I'm good, considering.
I think you said something like at 100 plus, there's usually something that hurts. So you've got to have other things to talk about, right?
Yes, yeah, if you tell about all the problems you have, they'd soon get tired of listening to you.
So I think that's a good strategy. And one of the other things that I've learned from you is that you had a dog that helped you get to know people in your neighborhood. You had McTavish the dog.
Oh, yes, and McTavish, God, they didn't know my name, but they all knew McTavish's name. So
when you were living alone, when Dad was in the
Yeah.
hospital and you were living alone, that dog was kind of a connection for you to the outside community.
yes, and I could talk to the dog. I wasn't talking to myself.
Did the dog answer you?
Not usually, but it was great.
So company is really important. So,
Yes.
and I know another thing that you've always done, you've always been part of like telephone trees where you phone people. So if you're not able to get out, because you're not driving anymore,
No.
so it's not easy for you to get out and drive over to visit someone, but you make a point of phoning people.
That's right, and talking to them and keeping in touch. It's most important to keep in touch with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about the people who give you rides? I know that you're an active churchgoer, and it's because of your friends like Kathleen and Bud that pick you up and give you a ride to church that you're able to go. So what does that mean to you, those kinds of people that go over and above?
It's so good to know that they don't wait for you to ask them. They say, we're going someplace, would you like to come along? And to me, that's very important, because those of us who've driven and taken people, we don't like to be asking for favors. Mm-hmm. But people like Kathy and Bud are certainly great.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reality is that at some point, and I think that's something you've talked about, sometimes you can be independent, but sometimes you have to ask for help.
Yes, definitely.
And receive it gratefully and gracefully.
That's right, you do.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm important. I have a daughter who takes great care of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. And I think we have to leave it at that. So again, Mom, thank you for making this film. Thank you to Mark for giving you the book that gave you the inspiration to write about Girl of the Limberlost.
That's right.
And we've connected with the people in Indiana that still preserve the Limberlost swamp in Indiana. So your words and your video is shown down there as well. So thank you again, Mom.
Thank you.
Thank you again for watching Friendly Giants Showcase here on Shaw Spotlight. My name is Nancy Angus. This project is called the Age Friendly Giants at agefriendlygiants.ca. If you want to find out more about what we do in Thunder Bay and how we are encouraging people to get to know your neighbors like Sis Angus and Kathy Scholes, and how to make aging in your own home comfortable, safe, and a beautiful experience. Thanks.